Hi class, so we're going to be going over decimal place value today. We've already learned our hundreds, our tens, and our ones. And now and we did learn our tens and our hundreds, but we are going to go over it again, what we call after the decimal point and what it actually means. So the best way to think about it is with money. So if I have three $100 bills, the number in the hundreds place would be 3 because there's three $100 bills. Same thing with tens. Tens is the amount of tens. If I have two $10 bills, it's going to be 20. If I have two $10 bills and $1 bill, it's going to be 21. So that's where we fill these in. Now our tens, our hundreds, and our thousands. So tens is going to represent our dimes. So a dime is 1/10 of a dollar. Therefore, it's going to represent the tens place because it takes 10 dimes to equal a dollar, so it's 1/10. Our pennies are going to represent our hundredths place because a penny is 1/100th of a dollar. It takes 100 pennies to equal a dollar. So for thousands, we don't have a coin that represents the thousandths place, but we do have a word for it, which is mil. And mil is 1,000th of a dollar. Therefore, it's 1,000 mils to equal to 1 cent. Of a dollar, I'm sorry guys. So 10 mils would equal 10 cents. So that's our place value. So we're going to be going over on how to figure out how to see the place value. So for example 1, it says which digit in 12.875 is in the tens place. So what I want you guys to do is at some point today, especially before you do your lesson practice, I want you guys to create this sheet. So exactly like this: your hundreds, your tens, your ones, your decimal point, your tenths, your hundredths, and your thousands. So everyone needs to make, and I prefer you guys make it bigger than mine, make it take up the entire page. That way you can write different numbers in here and it'll be easier to tell until you guys can memorize without even have to making the chart say, oh, that's the tenths, that's the hundredths, that's the thousands. So make this chart, that way you can practice memorizing your place value. So it says which digit in 12.875 is in the tens place. So what you're going to do is in your chart, you're going to write this number. So you look where your decimal point is. 1, 2, 8.875. So it wants to know which digit in 12.875 is in the tens place. Well, our tens is right here. Therefore, 8 is in the tens place. So that would be for that one. Example 2. Which digit in the hundredths place in each of these two decimal numbers? So they're asking for the hundredths place so there's A and B. So for A, we have 4.37. And for B, we have 4.370. So it says, which digit in the hundredths place in each of these two decimal numbers? So let's write them. 4.37 and 4.370. So in the hundredths place, we have 7 and 7 both times. So the second place to the right of the decimal point is your tenths, and so it's 7. Same thing with this one. Now I'm going to go over these two numbers. So they look different but they are absolutely the exact same number. So if you were to compare 4.37 and 4.370, it's going to be the exact same, it's the exact same value because the 0 holds no value. So you know how sometimes when we're doing addition or subtraction with decimal points and we'll have 1.7 plus 2.74, what do? We put a 0 in the decimal place so that way we know that this is 0. That's the same thing this is doing. So these are the exact same numbers, just with a 0 at the end. So whenever you have to compare and the numbers are the same with just a 0 in the thousands place, they're going to be equal to. Don't forget that. You're going to be getting a lot of questions on the lesson practice and in the homework about comparing these kind of numbers. So make sure you remember that if there is a 0, it's the same value. So let's go. Example 3. Now make sure you're writing your notes and you're paying attention because you're going to be doing the lesson practice on your own. I won't be working it through with you guys, but a lot of it is the same as our examples. So it's wanting us to compare 23.25 and 23.250. So we just talked about this. This holds no value. It adds no value. Therefore, these numbers are exactly the same. So they are equal to. Now remember that, and I'm emphasizing because you are going to have questions on this. Now example 4. Now this one, I need you guys to really pay attention because this one can get a little tricky. And I want you guys to really understand what to do for these kind of problems. So it's wanting us to subtract 4.37 minus 1.146. So remember, when we subtract, we always put the bigger number on top. Now, I know this one has more numbers and you would automatically want to put this one underneath it, but this is anything in front of the decimal point is the number we want to look at. So 4 is greater than 1, so 4 is going to go on top. Minus 1.146. So a lot of you guys are going to be, oh, 0 minus 6 is 6. Well, remember, if you have 0, you can't take away 6 from it. So anytime, remember, we can add a 0 here. And that's going to tell us that we have to take 6 away from 0. You cannot do that. You have to borrow. So anytime this bottom number is greater than this one, you have to put your 0 on top to remind you that you're going to have to borrow. 0 minus 6, you cannot do that. You want to borrow. Now you can do this. A lot of you guys, and this is something I used to do as a kid because it just seems easier and it seems right, is I would be like, oh, there's nothing there. So 6 and then 3, and then 3 minus 1 is 2, and then 4 minus 1 is 3. Oh, that was so easy. But you're going to see right now that this answer is going to be very different from this answer. 10 minus 6 is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3.224 is different than 3.236. This is what I do not want to see. This is what I want to see. So that is how, so don't forget to put the 0. I will take off points And there won't be redos because I'm emphasizing to make sure you put your zero. So make sure you're paying attention, guys. So for today's assignment, you're going to be doing lesson practice A through H. And you're going to have comparisons. You're going to have identifying the place value and doing subtraction problems like these. So do not forget your zeros if the number on top does not have a digit here, okay? If you guys have any questions or need help, go ahead and message me or have your parents send me an email. Talk to you later, guys.